Hello. Some of you might know me. My name is Eric Perry. I am the founder of Haunted in New England, Central New Hampshire Paranormal Society, and Eric Perry's Paranormal Investigations. I've been going through something I've never talked about a lot before, and I'm just starting to come out and talk to people more about depression. And I feel it's great to talk about it and what I went through with my depression. I think it's a good thing to have people you can talk to about depression and about what you're really going through. My depression started back in about 78, 79 in Lynn, Massachusetts. My depression is a repressed depression. And some of the things that I went through as a child were horrendous. I went through sexual abuse as a child. And not only sexual, but physical abuse. And it hurt me to no end to understand what I was going through. And to understand what made me do it, snap all of a sudden. My depression was very hard for me. Back in June, I've been married for almost 4 years now, and back in June, my wife and I called it quits. And something inside me snapped. More importantly, it snapped good. I ended up going back to Lynn for about a week before I sought help in form of a hospital. That's right, I went to a hospital. I went to an asylum. For 4 days I was in a lockdown unit. And then for 4 weeks I was in an outpatient program called the Birches. And I'm being honest with you here. The Birches were something that I really needed, and I needed help. At the lowest point of my life, I thought about suicide. I'm being honest with you guys. I actually thought about killing myself. I had a plan on how to kill myself. Definitely a hard thing to think about when it came to that. Thinking about killing yourself and taking your life. I shouldn't have thought about that. I have too much to live for. I have kids that I need to live for. They need their father. Going through the process of planning out my suicide, I had plans of walking right to the water and killing myself. Drowning. Drowning was going to be my way out of all the suffering and all the pain I was going through in my head. Did I think I would be better off killing myself? I wouldn't be a burden on anybody. I wouldn't be tied up to everybody. No one had to worry about me. But then I thought to myself, yeah, some people would be really upset if I did it. And I know that for a fact. Some people would be really upset with me. That even includes me, my soon-to-be ex-wife here. I went in for 4 weeks, and I got out the 19th of July, shortly after my 50th birthday, from where I was. I've been staying at friends' houses, and I've been staying at hotels, because I'm not allowed back at the house. The depression got the best of me, and it put me down. It put me down a lot harder than I thought it would be. It put me down to a place I never thought I would sink so low to. And I'm the kind of person that never took medications when I was growing up. Only time I would take them is if I got a cold, and that was it. Now I have to take medication to regulate what's going on in my head. There are days that I once in a blue moon I forget to take these, and I shouldn't. I want to be an inspiration to some people out there that are watching today about depression, that you can get the help you need and get the things that'll work for you, like coloring and music and walking and staying healthy of mind, body, and soul. But first you got to recognize you have an issue. Well, thank you, my friend. Depression's a hard thing. I'll admit it. I admit that really hard thing to come to terms with. It's a silent killer, people. You don't hear much about depression in our everyday life with people. You hear people are sad or something like that, but you don't talk about depression or suicide. You don't. Why do we hide that? Why do we hide when we don't feel right? You know, not only in our bodies, but in our minds. Why do we hide that? Why don't we ever talk about depression? Why is it a dirty word? Why does depression seem like a dirty word? Suicide seems one of those words too. You know, about it. Not, talking about it. I've had a lot of great people come into my life lately. I have a lot of great support. And that's another thing, is support. How many of you guys know that there's support out there for you? How many of you guys know that? Thank you, Faye. I want to say, everybody that's watching right now, my battle with depression and talking about it is the only way that seems to help me understand me having depression. It's the easiest way I can talk to people is to talk to them about depression. I don't have all the answers. I'm still learning about it. And I learned a lot from going to the programs that I went to. Oh, I agree with you, Pei. Social is a huge issue with this. When it comes to stigmas and stuff like that about depression. People think that you're nuts when you have depression because you go and get help. Some people feel that way. And when we do ask for help, people look at us weird. It's the same thing, you know, depression to me, and being on my own right now, and being without my friends. Hey, Ryan. My past with my sexual abuse, bringing my depression on, and my sexual abuse and my abuse that I took my parents' hands. And there was even Christmases I never got a Christmas gift compared to my brothers. It made me feel like I was not worth living. I wasn't worth living anything. And I mean that, guys. I really do. I really think that if I didn't survive and I didn't stick around and I don't do what I do with the ghost hunting, I think people wouldn't understand it. I don't think anybody would understand what I'm going through. Some of you do, some of you don't. I'm 50 years old, and I finally get to find out why I have depression. I've been doing, the last few nights, I've been on Facebook, and I've been talking about depression with people, and about everything else under the sun, about my life. I think it's a good idea to come here onto YouTube, a bigger, broader audience, I would say, to talk about depression and get everyone's thoughts on it. How many of people that are watching right now, and there's quite a few of you, are watching this right now and saying, I went through the same thing in your life? How many of you guys have gone through depression or suicidal thoughts? You know what the sad thing was for me? Week after I got married, I wanted to take this. I wanted to take some pills and kill myself. After a week of marriage, I was a newlywed and I wanted to kill myself. How sad is that? Do you agree? I think everybody that's going through depression needs some form of help or release. One of the things that does it for me is music. It seems to calm me down and to take me out of my depression, because it brings me back to a time when I was happy. Not many people realize that, you know, the happiness and everything else, the sorrow and everything else that goes with it, it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing. I cried, and it's alright to cry. With my depression, I cried. I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't stop crying at all. I want to be able to help people, and I want to be able to take this on the road and talk to people in person or in groups about depression, about my story. I think it would be a good idea for me. It'd be something I could learn along the way. Oh, the funny thing is, and I love this, the doctors blame my depression on being overweight. Really? Depression because I'm overweight? Really, people? I think the doctors need to go back to school a little bit. Being institutionalized for 4 days in the asylum is a wake-up call. When you hear that steel door shut behind you and you cannot get out unless the doctor okays you to go out to a yard and to get some fresh air for an hour, just for an hour, sucks. And I mean that. It really sucks getting out just for an hour.